Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. My 21 meters sister, 23F, told me she hates my girlfriend, 21F, of 2 years. Some background knowledge. In 2012 I lost my eldest sister to suicide. This at the time tore my family apart, but with time it made me and my other sister, 23F, a lot closer. I've known my girlfriend since 2014 and have dated her for close to 2 years now. I live with my sister and 2 roommates, and my girlfriend spends a lot of time with me. So my sister is my best friend. I would do anything for her, but like all siblings we do fight occasionally, and since living with her without my parents it has been difficult when we argue, as my parents aren't there to mediate the argument. This has had negative impacts on my relationship with her, so I thought it best to move out to maintain our relationship. However, earlier this week she voiced how much she hates my girlfriend and me when I'm with my girlfriend. I'm worried that the girl I'm dating, and have been for 2 years, is causing strain on my relationship with my sister, and I can't ruin my relationship with my sister, but I don't think breaking up with my girlfriend because my sister doesn't like her is the right thing to do either. I'm so lost for what to do and how to act around either of them at the moment, and I just need a bit of guidance. Any help or advice is greatly appreciated. Edit: my sister didn't give any valid reasons to why she doesn't like my girlfriend aside from "I don't like you," but from what she did say it seems like she doesn't like me when I'm with my girlfriend. Ask your sister why she doesn't like the GF and if you can all work it out. I think your sister is mad at you and projecting that anger onto your girlfriend. You were absolutely right to move away and get some space. That's not your girlfriend's fault. It's no one's fault, just a part of growing up. You need to sit your sister down and tell her it's okay to be mad at you, but don't drag GF into this. Did she give you any solid reasons for not liking your girlfriend? If she can't use her words, she doesn't get to have a say. Sounds like she is jealous of your GF. Did she give any specifics on why she hates your GF? Perhaps she fears the day your GF is more important to you than her, an inevitability really. If it isn't this GF it will be another one. I don't think it's jealousy. She has voiced that she isn't a massive fan of my GF prior to this, but they still seemed to get along. However, in the recent argument my sister told my girlfriend that she hates her and that she isn't allowed to come back to the house without giving any genuine reason other than "I don't like you." Well, then you must insist on a reason. She cannot behave like this and not give a reason. She's 23, not 12. My girlfriend of 3 years has chlamydia. Suspicion. So my girlfriend of 3 years recently got a UTI/ST type test and it turns out she has chlamydia. When she came home she was super upset and worried that I would think she had cheated on me, and insisted she hadn't. After a quick Google I found out that you can have chlamydia for years without realizing, and that settled that. Only now I'm realizing that not once did she blame me or say that I transmitted it to her. I feel like if I had gotten the test done and I knew that I hadn't cheated, I would at least question my partner. In the 3 years that we've been dating, thrush has been an issue maybe 3 times, but I'm sure if she got tested for thrush, chlamydia would be picked up. Am I going crazy here for questioning her loyalty, or am I coming to my senses? Thanks. Edit: update: my test came back negative. What do I do? However, STDs such as chlamydia can often be asymptomatic. It is reported that nearly 75% of women and 50% of men are asymptomatic when infected with chlamydia. To reduce the risk of transmission, it is important to regularly test for STDs, particularly if you have multiple sexual partners. Tell her to get retested at another facility. I had a friend who tested positive during her pregnancy checkup. Told long-term boyfriend. He tested negative. The horse pill they gave her to cure her made her so nauseous, She had to be admitted to the hospital, and nearly lost her baby due to dehydration. She got retested, but not before the doctor who performed the second test basically told her she was lying about being faithful because tests don't lie. The test was negative. She never had it. Did you get tested? Yeah, I've got tested, just waiting for my results. I once was told I had an STD. Turned out they had the wrong file. I was completely clean. But my first thought was my partner is gonna think I cheated, and I didn't. I had a clean test when we started dating, so it's not like it could have been dormant. And I didn't even think he cheated because I trusted him. I was racked with so many feelings and questions. All blaming myself. When I told him, he panicked and told me he hadn't cheated and would test to prove it to put me at ease. Neither thought the other cheated. We'd both been in relationships prior with someone who had been abusive prior to each other. We immediately reacted in such a way that spoke to that trauma. Could it be cheating? I don't know, but there are other explanations. But has she ever had a test before? Have either of you? I would say that your response is unique, though. Still valid though. And I have stated that it could be cheating. It's hard to know, especially because OP hasn't answered if she knew she was STI-free 3 years ago. Ultimately what this comes down to is that he either trusts his GF or he doesn't. I think it is more than fair to have some suspicions, but if he doesn't know if she was or wasn't STI-free at the beginning of their relationship, he can't really prove anything. If he can't trust her, he should leave. If he wants to trust her, then he can't hang on to this forever. Had she in the last months the typical behavior of a cheater, hide on the phone, text a lot, don't give you the attention you ask for, stop to cuddle, kiss you etc., decline your shesh life because of her? If not, I'll advise you to let this go, but maintain yourself attentive. You are not sure about it, and nothing is worse than one being accused of being innocent. They usually do a swab test for STDs and thrush, so if she was symptomatic the test would likely have shown chlamydia if she had it. No expert, but it does seem odd. Get tested ASAP. No. A test for yeast, thrush, and a test for chlamydia are both swabs, but they're two separate tests. Saying that a thrush test would show chlamydia is like saying that a blood test for cholesterol levels would show low vitamin D levels. If that's what you thought I said, then I expressed it wrong. Where I am, they take the swab, and mark off on the test card what tests they want to run. This can include thrush. Yes, you can have just a thrush test, even just over the counter. The point I was making is the symptoms are similar, and if she kept presenting, it seems odd she wasn't tested for STIs. Women here have never had the two tested for at the same time ever, and have had tests for both lots. This point makes no sense to me. I think it is totally normal to not be tested for everything at once. Thrush is not even on the STI panel at our local hospitals. Symptoms of thrush and chlamydia can be similar. The point is, if she went to the doctor presenting those symptoms, she should have been tested for it, especially as she represented symptoms several times. They can test for thrush and bacterial vaginosis off the same swab. Yes. I am a doctor. I'm aware. Thrush and BV can occur spontaneously and most often do. Chlamydia and thrush are never ever the same swab, so I don't know why you bring up BV. Irrelevant really. Solely transmissible disease is different. Where I live, we generally save healthcare costs where we can, and when someone comes in saying I have no new partners, we don't go looking for unlikely things until it's maybe the third or fourth time or an unusual presentation. You are totally making an assumption about her testing, doubling down on it, and why. I sense someone who doesn't trust others easily. Don't assume the worst unless you have real evidence. Don't go looking for, well, I believe it should have happened this way, so therefore, that is false logic. I think you are reading way too much into what I posted. Stick to doctoring, and not psychology. Well, as a psychiatrist I can't promise you that. I practice both, every day. And when I see people shoulder all over others for no good reason, or using other types of thought distortions and believing it is logical, it just bothers me. You're spouting nonsense, so expect to be called on it. No doctor would assume that someone in a relationship can't catch an STI. Be gone, fraud. I'm sorry if I hit a sore spot. There was no need for me to make reference to anyone's trust issues. On this sub of all places, I should have known better. Op needs to know this assumption about how tests are done is false. Don't be led down a garden path. It's a critical difference, and most men don't know much about lady tests, so I'm just trying to illuminate the facts. There is no sore spot to hit. You were out of line with your comments, and I still maintain that with her recurrent symptoms full spectrum STI tests would normally be run. If you really were a doctor, your time would be better spent explaining to Op about dormant chlamydia, how long it can remain dormant and whether testing is effective, rather than trying to put another woman in her place on thrush and the counting of swabs. Yeah, I definitely know next to nothing about lady tests, but as I was also under the impression that thrush and chlamydia can have similar symptoms, I would have assumed a test for both would have been done by the doctor. No, doctors only do what tests are necessary, and these issues have different mechanisms of disease. Thrush is often just a clinical diagnosis, no swab required. Every doctor has a different style too, so the approach to testing is not always done consistently. She probably did have thrush those 3 times on top of asymptomatic chlamydia. I would be devastated to find out I had this for years, because it is well known to cause damage to the tubes and infertility. Just talk to her. If she's lying about anything, it should be clear to you. More doubts will arise. If you have no reason to doubt her other than the assumption that it was tested for before, then you got nothing. My girlfriend of 3 years tested positive for chlamydia. Update, advice. So since my last post a couple things have happened and I have to clear some things up. This was a while ago. When she told me, I immediately got tested and was given a prescription. However, I never got sent my results or a call to say my results were in, and didn't bother following up with my GP as we had already finished our prescriptions and would be clean from chlamydia. I love this girl and trust her wholeheartedly. When she told me she hadn't cheated and believed it was a dormant case, I believed her, and believed I had chlamydia also, as the doctor told me there was a 99% chance I did if there was no infidelity. There was no issue of mistrust until I had a 3 a.m. panic attack and gut feeling something was wrong. Which is when I wrote the first post. I talked to her about it recently, last night. She tells me that she had been to 3 different doctors when thrush was a recurring issue. Each doctor told her she had thrush. Only when she went to a 4th doctor did they screen for chlamydia, which is when she found out she was carrying it. She tells me she was told to get a fertility check as it was possible she had been carrying it for a while. She is still fertile, her reproductive organs are healthy. Since we have both finished our prescriptions, there has been no issues of thrush. She also thinks she knows who she contracted it from prior to us becoming monogamous, and didn't blame me because she trusts me. I went to my GP at the beginning of the week asking for the results I stupidly never followed up on. I had tested negative. Over the past years we have had unprotected sex, only using birth control. How have I tested negative if we've been having unprotected sex for so long while she tested positive? Is that even possible? Chlamydia is supposedly one of the most easily transmitted STIs, so how did I not get it? At the same time, thrush hasn't been an issue since the medication for chlamydia. I want to believe her, I truly do. When I talk to her about this, I see the pain in her eyes because she feels I don't trust or believe her. She's not mad that I'm feeling this way or that I questioned it. She's upset that I'm now questioning her. I apologize if this doesn't flow too well or if it gets confusing. I am still reeling over the situation. How have I tested negative if we've been having unprotected sex for so long while she tested positive? Is that even possible? 1 in 4 chance of acquiring chlamydia from one act of sex with an infected person. Years of unprotected sex with an infected person and no transmission of chlamydia? You, my friend, would be a unicorn, dragon, werewolf, vampire hybrid, most of the cool fantasy figures covered here. Chlamydia creates an environment where thrush thrives. When did thrush become an issue? Were you both affected? Are either both of you smokers, have chronic disease of some sort, etc.? I agree that the timeline needs to be clarified. The rough timeline is we're together for 2.5 to 3 years when we find out she has chlamydia. In that 3 years thrush had been an issue maybe 4 to 5 times prior to finding out about chlamydia. I had never got symptoms of thrush or chlamydia. It's been around 6 months since she was diagnosed. She quit smoking a couple months before she got chlamydia. I was and still am a smoker. Neither of us have a chronic disease. In that 3 years thrush had been an issue maybe 4 to 5 times. Oral thrush, vague thrush or both. Men do not exhibit symptoms of candidiasis as well as women. They can transmit the candidiasis. Thrush in humans. Oral candida overgrowth is often referred to as thrush. Vaginal candida overgrowth is often referred to as yeast infection. Candida oral and vaginal is normal. We all have this bacteria, the issue is overgrowth. The overgrowth can occur due to many different factors, mainly, conditions in the body are hospitable to the candida bacteria. Candida can be transmitted via intimate engagement, kissing, sexual contact, it can even be shared eating and drinking. Healthy people with no chronic conditions and or not smokers, will not experience overgrowth. She could have had episodes of candidiasis as a result of sexual contact, or not, no way to be sure really. Where this becomes curious is the chlamydia, and you engaging in nearly 3 years of unprotected sex and not acquiring the chlamydia. Sorry but that is just mind-blowing. Contracted and dormant? Sure. But, negative? Pikachu face. Sometimes it is legit to claim dormant chlamydia, prolonged, unprotected sexual intercourse and oral sexual contact. I'm assuming healthy oral sexual contact, well, just odd for that sexual partner to not contract it. I'm not saying impossible, but certainly sus. If you were my younger sib, I'd tell you to move along, and no kissing or sex, dude. I feel torn because I hate to feel that way but it's just. Coupled with not questioning you? I don't know any early 20s who aren't side-eyeing, dude, just human nature. Thought she went to the doc for a suspected UTI? Sorry for the lack of caps, typing with one hand lol. Keep this in mind. The average incubation period for chlamydia is 1 to 3 weeks, it is at that point that the bacteria is transmissible. False positive chlamydia tests are below 3%. False negative tests 0 to 9%. You need to do a retest for chlamydia, make sure divdoc/clinic/lab. In fact, I would highly recommend a full STD panel, my friend. Are you sure of those stats? The ones I read were less than 5% transmission with slightly lower F2M rates. Still for 2+ years it's questionable, but it isn't out of the realm of possibility. I don't know what you read but it's wrong. Chlamydia is the most prolific sexually transmitted disease. My stats are actually conservative, it's more like 30 to 33% for one-time sexual contact. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, looks like a duck, then it's reasonable to assume it's a duck. I don't believe it's possible that you just didn't contract the STD. Perhaps have her get the doctor's notes from the doc that diagnosed her. Those should show the reason she came in. Also why the doc thought to screen her for STDs. Sorry this is happening to you bud, but if she resists and tries to turn your request around as you being a dick for not trusting her, then she's a non-loyal duck. If she was experiencing symptoms in her nether regions, doc would examine and also would run diagnostic testing. Standard STD panel would be normal. Do not request her medical records. Simple. With a big smile and a friendly demeanor, tell your potentially wayward partner that you think a lie detector test would serve the relationship well. An excellent investment really. You can even say that you will submit to it, as well. It's simple, the cost of a lie detector test is cheaper than a disease that wrecks your life. There are diseases that cannot be cured, or a divorce, with or without kids. Many break at the mere mention of a lie detector test, some at the 11th hour up to the test, some think they can beat it, some do too. One way to help aid clarity and truthfulness is to appear non-threatening but also explain that if you find out the truth without a test, you have a better chance of working through it. If you have to find out via lie detector test, that will be an automatic breakup. Lie detector tests are an absolute joke. Why do you think they aren't allowed in court? It's a psychological game. They aren't accurate and easily manipulated. Why do people still believe in the validity of polygraph tests in 2022? Because TV shows like Maury sensationalize the use of polygraph tests along with scientifically concrete DNA tests to make them seem valid. They take it at face value. Either way works. I like your lie detector test idea. Good one. Where does one get a lie detector test done? US? Yep, just googled it. Thanks though. Best wishes. Same to you too, Victory Hand. Your girlfriend is lying. It sounds like you got played and are trying to convince yourself there's a scenario in which you didn't. Escalation of commitment cognitive bias. I would ask the doctor what is possible with this infection. Could you have maintained your negative status all this time? This is the only good answer. Just talk to your doctor. Or go to her doctor with her and ask them. Just ask a doctor. When the streets call she will answer, she belongs to the streets. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.